First on BBC Two, we profile the Gramophones, a 30s-style dance band. I'd sooner be a crooner.
When someone comes into my shop, they're stepping into the musical world of the 1920s and 30s. Thousands of records and the original gramophones to play them on. The kind of customers I used to get in the shop were the older people who felt a bit of nostalgia for the period. They're looking for records that they possibly broke or lost during the war. But now the most interesting thing is it's the younger people who are actually in their teens and 20s who have discovered the music, possibly heard it on the radio, and are looking for particular titles of jazz or dance records. There's a new band playing these songs right now with the original punch and flavor of the period.
Sooner be a crooner, given half the chance. I can complete with 2 left feet dancing. I'm well aware that Fred Astaire could sing as well as dance, but buttons flee when they see me advancing. Now across a crowded room I wouldn't dance, I'd only croon, trotting out those quick slows, pounding away right on her toes. Oh, you may trip the light fantastic, take your partner's hand. I'd sooner be a crooner in a band.
I want to be a crooner. I'm not at all interested in pop music. I'm not interested in electronic music. It's the sound of real instruments played by real live skilled musicians.
The appeal of dance band music really came out of the fact that I loved singing, like I'm sure so many other people do, the songs of Noel Coward, George Gershwin, Irving Berlin, Jerome Kern, etc. Everybody loves singing those songs who love singing, because they're just singers' songs. And there was the period in which they were written was just happened to be the golden age of British dance band music, so I thought, well, why not just do the thing properly? Why not try and rebuild the whole sound with band as well? And that was really the roots of it. I've done most of my research with the help of Leslie Wilson in the dusty depths of the BBC music archives, way down below the Earth's surface somewhere.
Well, when Graham first came to see me, I think it was in some sense of desperation. He'd tried every other source, or every other source that he knew of. The publisher certainly couldn't supply him with any of the material. They don't have it anymore. And I think when he understood that we were a main source of music, he was very happy to come and see us and see what we've got.
This arrangement was made in 1930.
No, it doesn't. We've got, I suppose, about 8,000, amongst our stock, 8,000 dance band arrangements, the bulk of which come from the 20s, 30s and 40s. And when he saw us, when he saw what we have, it was like finding Aladdin's cave for him. I have here something else which may interest you. These are the Chinese Laundry Blues plus the song copies, and the other one is Sarawaki.
Oh, Sarawaki.
You mentioned something by Harry Roy before.
Yep. Ah, no. Here's a song with a tale.
Yes, and these, of course, were done for a dance band, but they also included strings with these, things like cellos and violins, because many of the bands in those days still clung onto a string section.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to authenticate the sound unless you do actually have some strings.
You must have a string, yeah. As it says here, descriptive Eastern foxtrot. It's great fun. It's a lovely number. I've got a recording of it actually with Harry Roy playing, and it's a real classic. I mean, it starts off with this marvelous Eastern clarinet, doo-doo, digga-digga-digga-doo, and that suddenly sets the scene. I think in those days they used to like dressing up a lot in sort of Middle Eastern garb, fancy dress balls, and I think this probably was a great hit in its time. gramophones are 12 skilled musicians, and were all devoted to the style of music of the late 1920s, really the 30s, and a little bit of the early 40s. This is the golden age of British dance band music, in fact. Sarawaki was written for Harry Roy's very glamorous first wife, that's Miss Elizabeth Brooke, and she was the daughter of the White Raja of Sarawak. This was a song he commissioned in her honour. It's not a song about a Japanese motorbike.
Sarawaki, skies are blue. Sarawaki, I always dream of you. I see you waiting neath the golden bamboo. Oh, Sarawaki, my heart is there with you.
There was this extraordinary paradox in the music of the 1930s, because it was being played in the top West End hotels and being danced to by the well-heeled, the elite, and the glitterati, and listened to in the humblest of homes on their little wireless sets, where in their own town there was probably mass unemployment, there was a depression, and times were hard, but and still the music just reflected nothing but relaxed elegance, which was loved by everybody, not just the upper classes.
National programme from London. Now you're going to hear the first performance of the new BBC Dance Orchestra, directed by Henry Hall. It's just the time for dancing. Tomorrow is today.
I suppose the band most people would have heard in the 30s would have been Henry Hall and the BBC Dance Orchestra, who broadcast regularly on the wireless along with many other bands of the time.
The breeze across the fairway, the blossoms over there.
The crooner Al Bowley was often referred to as the English Bing Crosby, and he could be heard singing with all the top bands of the day.
A life of regret, maybe I'll give much more than I get.
Ambrose and his orchestra were even treated as like early day pop stars. But I suppose, above all, it was the wireless that made them all nationally famous.
In a million ways, be for me 100%, and that's a lot these days.
Well, Harry Roy was without question the wackiest of all the 1930s band leaders. Rather tragically fancied himself as a vocalist. He was a clarinetist, band leader, and also fancied himself, I gather, as an actor.
I've not always wanted to be a dance band leader, but why I became a Hong Kong policeman, I really don't know. I was teaching at the time, and I really just wanted a little bit of excitement. I was very young and still had masses of energy to expend, so I thought I was off to some exotic climb. They wouldn't have me in the Foreign Legion. I couldn't think of anything more exciting, so in fact the Hong Kong police finally accepted me, and I went out there to do some police work. It then transpired that there were very few singers in Hong Kong, and I began to pick up singing work all over the place, which was terrific for me. And I thought, well, perhaps it's something I could do, because it's what I really loved, and do on a full-time basis. So sadly, the police work had to go, and I came back to England to do music, seriously.
Regular duties to be done, A policeman's lot is not a happy
All the members of the band are classically trained, and most have been students at Trinity College of Music. James Cadan is almost as much an institution as Trinity College itself. He was here as a student, and as a professor he's been here for 40 years. He taught me choral conducting. I also worked under him as a singer. I think the last thing we worked on together was the Mozart Requiem. Running a 1930s dance band?
1930s, a surprise.
Yeah, 12 of us, and our connection really with Trinity is still very strong, because most of the band are still Trinity students. A couple of years ago, actually, I started up with a small band, and we just played some early arrangements that we had of 1930s music. But now it's got rather grander than that, and we're a full 12-piece orchestra, a bit like Blue Stone in size, I suppose. And I've been researching the original scores, doing all right, actually, just about.
What actually drew you to that particular period? Because one could have gone further back to the 1920s.
Yes. There's a lovely elegance, I think, about the 30s, which I've always loved. And even whilst I was a student here, actually, I never told you about this, but I used to spend the odd evening, I'd sneak off to some rather smart soiree where I would be paid a small fee to do a recital of Noel Coward songs. So even at that
I'm not at all surprised. Not at all.
The Half Moon at Putney was our first regular venue. It was the first chance we had of bringing our music to everybody. It was quite a shock for us to roll up in our wing collars and our dinner jackets and be confronted with an audience who were used to listening to heavy metal or punk rock bands. Well, Mr. Wu, the Chinese Laundry Blues, is one of those ever-popular songs which goes down incredibly well, not just as a dance number, it is in fact in strict dance time, but it's also a great concert number with the audience being invited to make as much noise in the little interspersions as possible. And it obviously gives them a nice opportunity to let off steam.
I got those kind of limehouse Chinese laundry blues. Oh, you are screwy, just like chop suey. Why don't you throw your sweetheart overdue? Oh dear me, it's what my brother always hollers. Just look at his fresh shirt, I chose his coat of many colors, Mr. Wu. I'm telling you, I got those kind of limehouse Chinese laundry blues.